ever thought that there's more to life than what you're living now? More potential, more greatness, more in you than you are sharing with the world. You can be more, you can do more, you can become more than you are today. So basically, today was the last day on earth, knock on wood, God forbid. But would you be able to confidently say that you unleashed your greatness? A life by design, a life that you are proud of at the end of the day. Would you live a life of success on your terms? If no, then this video is for you. In this video, I'm going to share tips, strategies that I use to transform my mind, that transformed my life into a life that I believe is in line with the life that I want to live. So let's get to it. Hi guys, my name is Dionne. Sorry for my voice is a bit croaky today. I'm an attorney, I'm an entrepreneur, and most recently I became an author. So this is my first book, Conquering, Unleash Your Greatness, and it's available on Amazon today. And the reason why I wrote this book, right? My mission is to empower you to live a life by design, to live a life. You are the architects of your life. You are the captain of your ship. You can confidently at the end of the day say, I lived life my way. That's the essence of this book. So what actually brought the whole thing was, I'm an attorney and I used to work on contract basis because I love to travel. So I used to work in a way that once the contract ends, I can just take a quick trip and then come back and start another one. So I was on a project once and I traveled to Italy and France, I think Venice and Paris, yes. And when I got back, I saw an older gentleman who was on the project with me at that time. And I asked him, how did the project go? Because I wasn't there at the end of the project. So I just wanted to know how the project went. And his response, oh my gosh. I spoke more about this in a previous video, but if you're new here, let me just sum it up for you. He said, I feel misused. I feel worthless. What a waste of life. That phrase, what a waste of my life, stirred something in me. And for me, more than the words that were coming out of his mouth, were the look in his eyes, the look of defeat, the look of regret, the look of pain of a life that he felt was wasted. And that day I told myself one thing. I told myself that, yes, you're an attorney. And it took me a long time. It took work to become an attorney, you know. I went to school for all those years to become an attorney. But at that point, I was like, Dionne, is that all you want to be? Because you can be anything you want to be. What you can be is endless. The only limit that you have is your mind. You can be anything you want to be. And that time I asked myself, Dionne, is an attorney all you want to be? And the honest answer was no. I wanted to be more than an attorney. I wanted to be an author. I wanted to be a content creator. I wanted to be a fashion designer. I wanted to own a clothing brand. I wanted to have a non-profit for women and girls in impoverished countries. I wanted to do so much more than just be an attorney. So when I saw that man that day, it just stirred something in me. I used to work in New York, and on the train ride home, I just asked myself, Dionne, if today was your last day on earth, would you confidently be able to say that you have used all your talent, used up all your potential? And the sad answer was no. I would not have been able to say that. And that day, I asked myself why. And I realized it's because I had put a full stop where there was supposed to be a comma. I had allowed people's opinions, people's expectations to enslave me and to put me in a box. I had allowed my own self-doubt, my own fear, my own lack of self-belief to imprison me. And on the train ride, it was a very liberating day for me, because on the train ride, I was like, why are you not becoming all you want to be? Why are you limiting your potential because of people's opinions and expectations of you? Why are you allowing fear and self-doubt and limiting self-belief to box you and put a full stop where there's supposed to be a comma? And that day I made a promise to myself that I am going to unleash my greatness. I am going to thrive in my purpose. I am going to do everything I want to do and be everything I know I can be. I am going to die empty, and that is my goal, and that is my promise to myself. And I'm still keeping that promise. So I wrote this book for my younger self, right? From Ghana originally. And in Ghana, lawyer, being an attorney is a very prestigious profession. Even in America, it's quite prestigious. But luckily for me, it's something I always wanted to be. Since I think I was 8 years old, I always wanted to be an attorney. But when I became an attorney, I realized that this is not all I wanted to be. And I realized that most of the people I was working with were very grumpy, easily irritated. And it's because they realized that there was more to life than what they were doing. But most of them didn't have quote unquote, the courage to pursue it. So I realized that at that point that I did not want to be like most of them. Right? The gentleman I spoke about earlier was about 70. I don't want to live at 70 and think I've wasted my life. No. And for me, I'd rather do something and not let it go as planned than not do it at all and wonder what would have happened if I bet on myself and actually started creating content, or what would have happened if I bet on myself and actually became an author, or what would have happened if I bet on myself and actually started my business. I didn't want to have a life of what ifs, because for me, I don't want to live a life of regrets. And I feel like that's one of the things that really keeps me going. I don't want to regret this life, because this is all, life is one. It's one and done, you know what I mean? And I want to live a life where I did it my way. A life where at the end of my life, I can say I am successful on my terms, you know, not on the terms of Peter, not on the terms of Ahmad, not on the terms of Sally, on my terms. These are the steps that I did to sort of conquer the status quo, my status quo, quote unquote. First of all, was I made a decision. I decided that day that was going to be the last day where I lived a life, quote unquote, of mediocrity. A life where it was not in line with my vision of success for me. That was the last day I was going to settle and be enslaved by people's opinions of me, opinions and expectations of me. Because to that point, I would say I was existing in America. Today was your last day on earth, knock wood, God forbid. I would not be able to say that I lived life how I wanted to live it. I would not be able to say I was the captain of my own ship. I would not be able to say I was the artist that painted my own masterpiece. So that day I decided that I wanted to live a different life. It's one thing to say I don't want to live this life, but it's another to say I don't want to live this life, but this is the life I want to live. And I had to decide the kind of life I want to live in terms of my finances, in terms of my health, in terms of my relationships, my family, in terms of my religion. Like, I had to decide what kind of life I want to live. And then when I decided the kind of life I wanted to live, I had to sit down to ask myself, this is where you are. This is where you want to be. What is the bridge between the two? How are you going to get there? And that's where goal setting comes in. So that time I used to go to Ghana maybe 2 or 3 times every year. And I realized that I will hit play in Ghana, and when I get back to America, I'll hit pause. What do I mean by that? In Ghana, I was thriving. From the clothes I would wear to the places I would go, like I was living my life. And that's because Ghana was the environment that I knew. That was where I grew up. If you're an immigrant, you probably understand this, but it's like that's where I grew up. So in my mind, Ghana is where I can thrive. So in my mind, America is where you sort of hustle and Ghana is where you live. But I started and I thought about it. I was like, wait a minute, Dionne, you're spending more and more time in America than in Ghana. So basically you're pausing your life more than you're playing your life. And that was not acceptable for me. So I decided that what is it about Ghana that can make me thrive that I can bring into America? I had to have a mindset shift. So I literally had to change my mindset to think that wherever you are is where you are. So you don't thrive in one place and exist in another place. You should figure out a way to thrive in every place you are. So number 1 was I made a decision. Number 2 was I set goals. I have so many videos talking about goals, and I have one particular video where I break down how to set goals that can actually transform your life in as little as 30 days, and I'm going to link that here. But I set goals, and when I set the goals, one of the things that I did that I hadn't done before was I had to sit down and ask myself, what is the price to pay for this goal? How much is this goal going to cost me, and what is it going to cost me? Is it going to cost me my sleep? Is it going to cost me time with friends? Is it going to cost me even expenditures that I'm making, maybe buying less stuff? What is it going to cost me? And am I willing to pay the price? Most of us know what it's going to cost us to accomplish our goals. We know that, yeah, we have to wake up early, we have to sleep later, we have to probably cut out certain foods, we have to change our lifestyle, maybe even change our environment. We know it. But the question is, are we willing to do it? So at that point, I had to be honest with myself to ask myself, because where I was at that point in my life, if I continued that way, it was going to be a lifetime of regret, not a season of regret. And I did not want the next 5 years to be like the last 5 years. I did not want the next even day to be like the previous day, because I wanted a life where I can say that I'm the captain of my ship. Does that mean it's going to be a life of no problems? Absolutely not. But it's going to be a life that I have designed. I set the goals and I asked myself if I was willing to pay the price. And I decided I was willing to pay the price. So once I decided I was willing to pay the price, I had to commit to my goals. I had to commit to becoming the best version of myself. I had to commit to becoming all that I know I am and I can be. And how did I do that? I did it by prayer, meditation, and taking action. I'm a Christian, I pray, I meditate, and I journal. And also I was taking action. This is evidence of the action I was taking when I made my decision. I didn't write this book overnight. Actually, it took me a while. It took me a little over 2 years to write this book, right? But when I decided that I wanted to be an author, because that's one of the things that I think come after the comma, I had to come up with a plan. I didn't know how to write. This is my first book. I had to hire a writing coach, right? But all those things came after I had made the decision to commit to my goals. So what I'm trying to say right now is that, number one, decide the kind of life you want. What do you want out of life? What is your definition of success? Not mine, not Sally's, not Sue's. What is your definition of success? And then when you decide what success is for you, look at the commitment, look at the price you have to pay to achieve that success. And when you've looked at the price you have to pay, you have to decide, are you willing to pay that price? It's either a yes or a no. But sometimes we think that we are, but then our actions say otherwise. Let your actions and your habits and everything be in line with your decision. It's either a yes or a no. Don't be in between. Even the Bible says, be hot or be cold. Don't be lukewarm. Is it a yes or a no? Do you want to accomplish it or not? If you want to accomplish it, are you committed to accomplishing it? Because it will get hard. I wish I could tell you that it will be easy, it will be a walk on the path, but it's not. It's gonna be hard. I set goals, but for the longest time I was setting goals and not achieving them, like I said in the previous video. But I found a 7-part framework that has helped me to set and achieve so many goals, including this one, and I've shared it in another video. I'm gonna link it there. But the essence was, after I set the goal, after I had decided what the price to pay was, and I had decided I was going to pay the price, I made a commitment to take one action step a day. So with this book, I decided I was going to write for an hour a day. It started with 10 minutes a day, then I increased it to 20, then 30, then I was like, you know, I can fit in an hour every morning to write the book. What was the price I had to pay? Financially, I had to pay for a writing coach. I had to wake up earlier. I had to do more research. I had to cut out going out, because if I was going to find an hour a day to work on my book, then that means that there are certain things I may be watching TV. I don't watch a lot of TV anyhow, but the little TV I was watching, I had to cut it out to be able to write my book. Those are the kinds of price you have to pay. So you have to decide what kind of life you want. You have to decide if you're going to be an active player or a passive player. Either one is fine. I'm not saying either one is wrong. Either one is fine, but it just has to be your decision. You can't be shackled by fear or doubt. I know it's easier said than done, because there are so many things that I have wanted to do that fear has stopped me until I made that decision, right? Even creating this video, as an attorney, I've always known how to speak, but I have never wanted to speak in terms of, I've never really been comfortable in front of the camera like that. But when I decided I wanted to become a content creator, I decided that I wanted to talk to people, to empower people to live lives by design. And that's what I'm doing now. And it's not the easiest. Many times I'm like, oh my gosh, Dionne, your accent, because my accent is not American, your accent or your makeup, or like, there are so many little things that were stopping me from doing what I actually wanted to do. And until I got to the point where I was like, you know what, my why is greater than all these obstacles. Until I got to that point, I was stuck. And I hope you're not stuck. But if you are stuck, then I will recommend this book for you. Honestly, this book, the strategies I share in this book changed my life. And so far, everyone who has read it has given me such positive comments about it. And I recommend this book for you because it's a book to my younger self. It's a book to the pre-emancipated Dionne, so to speak. It's a book of how to implement those strategies and why you should implement them. Do you get it? So it's like when you're doing something and you know why you're doing it, it's easier for you to do it. It's easier for you to pay the price when you know why you're paying that price, right? So that's why I wrote this book, hopefully to help you transform your life and live a life by design. If you've read it, actually leave a comment and let me know what you think about it. And if you haven't, like I said, it's available on Amazon. I'm going to leave it in the description as well. But most importantly, I want to ask you, why are you not living a life that you want to live? A couple of weeks ago, I was driving with my husband and he asked me, he was like, Dionne, you know what? If you were 40 today, would you say you've lived a successful life? And I was like, not even being 40, but if God forbid today was my last day on earth, I can confidently say I've lived a successful life. I say I've lived a life by design. I was the captain of my ship. I can confidently say I've lived a successful life. And that is what I want you to be able to confidently say. So guys, that's it for today. See you next in this video where I break down goal setting, how to achieve goals in a record time in as little as 30 days. These are proven steps that I did myself and I saw results. That's why I'm sharing. So I'm going to link that video and I'll see you guys in my next video. Thanks for watching. Bye guys.